Right, good afternoon everyone. I hope everyone is doing well here today. Let's just jump straight into it. No, not the fire. I'm talking about Epping. Epping in Essex. I mean, Essex is well known for their tans that could rival Hollywood teeth as far as the fake tans are concerned. But it was also famous for something else over the last day or two. Riots. Because it turns out that there was some invaders, some foreigners who were living in our migrant hotels as per the usual. The Bell Hotel, to be precise. Well, they're certainly not ringing our bell, that's for sure. But it turns out that one of these foreign men that was in this hotel, well, they were starting to follow girls and children a little bit too much. And it turns out one of them was, I think, charged for doing one of the most atrocious things that you can do to a child. Who said gave a happy meal to me? Shut up, you. I'm not that bad, am I? No, it was something far worse. Something far more sinister than taking a kid's happy meal. Now think of this as well. Recently, we've had a super injunction, which has been found out to have been put on a story where 25,000 Afghanis have been resettled here. Now put into context that a lot of these people, well, the Afghanis aren't exactly known for their hospitality. And the fact that these people have actually been found out that, I think it's like 59 people per 10,000 rata. Turns out they've been convicted of crimes of a sexual nature. Well, it doesn't take a genius to put one and one together to make two. And when the people of Essex found out that one of these people was guilty of such an atrocious crime, and that loads of people were being housed in their hotel, quite understandably, they got more than a little bit pissed off. It's Ballymena all over again. It is Southport all over again. And understandably, Essex people stood up, went up to this hotel and protested. And it eventually turned nasty. It turned very nasty, in fact, because the two-tier policing society was getting attacked from all angles. I mean, they were being verbally abused. They had multiple vans attacked. And of course, just the mere presence of an Englishman is enough to make anyone cry for their mothers. Because there's one thing that you can count on with the English people, and that is when they're angry, you don't fuck with an Englishman. I mean, even when they're calm, I probably wouldn't want to fuck with an Englishman. But you have to understand, a lot of these people are fathers and mothers. And a lot of these children that have recently been subjected to this horrific abuse. I believe there was even a rape gang in Roundtree, if I recall correctly. But you can understand, when this kind of atrocity going on in their local towns, people aren't going to take too kindly when you're importing the third world into their local hotels. In fact, a lot of these people are going to very vehemently protest against it. Now, I don't have a daughter. I don't have a son. I carry him around all the time because I'm two people. Anyway, I don't go around with a son or a daughter because I don't have one. But I can fully sympathise with these people when I can see the atrocities that have happened to kids already. Let's not forget what happened to Elsie Dot, Alice De Silva Aguilar, and of course Bebe King. God rest all three of their souls. Butchered by a subhuman piece of vulture sperm that is Axel Radaku Banana, an invader from a Rwandan couple who is currently sitting in HMP Woodhill being protected by the prison guards in there because they think he's a vulnerable person. I mean, to be fair, he is kind of vulnerable. After all, there are people who are far harder than this vermin who would take out the trash if they were given even half a chance. And frankly, if I had my way, if I was one of the prison guards, I'd probably accidentally leave one of the doors open for someone to be able to wander into the wing, and basically rid ourselves of the worst kind of subhuman that you can have, a child killer. Because vermin like him don't deserve to breathe our oxygen, quite frankly. That's another topic entirely. These people in our hotels, we have no idea who they are, where they came from, or what they're planning to do. Except, of course, for the one bastard that's been charged. We already know what he's done. And this protest was mostly peaceful. I say mostly peaceful in the context of the indigenous people of Essex. Most of them are considerate enough to not stoop to violence. Of course, there are some that are not like that, and there are some that basically, well, they want blood, basically. And as I've said before, I can't condone violence, I can't condone riots and what have you, and damaging police vans, but I completely understand why these people have done it. They're frustrated, they're pissed off, they're sick and tired of their kids being in a vulnerable position because our government hasn't got the guts to actually take out the trash. And as I've said before, it's not people that others hate, it is the cultures that they bring. And unfortunately, a lot of Middle Eastern countries have a predominant religion of Islam, including the Afghanis that are trying to sue our government right now for £1 billion. And this is for a data breach, apparently. But back to Epping. The way I look at this is we have seen this shit. We've seen it in Ballymena, we've seen it in Ulster, we've seen it in Belfast. Therefore, they have had plenty of prior knowledge to this. They have understood categorically what happens when you try to bring foreign invaders from incompatible parts of the world with our society and you put them into our hotels. They have seen this firsthand. And yet Keir the traitor Starmer, rather than reading the room and actually seeing that maybe it's not such a good idea to let foreign invaders stay in our hotels at our expense and at our behest, so that they have their opportunity to potentially kidnap, violate, or murder our kids. Instead of doing that, Keir the traitor Starmer says, we need more, and I will do all I can to protect the Muslim community. And our two-tier police are no better either. They have decided after a lefty got attacked, and after, I believe, it was a migrant that got attacked, one of the ones from over yonder that have no legal or human right to be here, the police then decided to say they're now investigating this under a hate crime. No, Essex police, it is not a hate crime that went on there. Assault, by all means. But at the end of the day, the laceration to his cheek that caused the profuse bleeding is not a result of hatred-motivated crime. It is a crime motivated by concerned parents and concerned patriots who do not want to see their towns and their cities flooded with migrant men, legal or otherwise, who potentially have the capacity to put their kids in real danger. And a very simple question that we all need to start asking the police: who's your priority? The kids or the invaders? Because right now, a lot of us are thinking that they're prioritising the invaders of this country, the ones that do not want anything to do with our culture, that are intolerant of us, that hate us, that want to conquer and subjugate us. But we saw firsthand what happens when peace is broken. Now, I do have my suspicions. This is probably the government's protest group, which effectively loves to dress up in black, mask up, so that you can't really identify these people, and then they go out and basically agitate the crowd or instigate fights and what have you, in order for the media to come out and take the pictures or the film and showcase, oh, you see they are far-right racists and football hooligans and blah blah blah, because that's their only weapon they have, the smear. They don't have facts on their side. They are not journalists, they are activists. But the people are waking up to their bullshit. and they're realising the media are not telling the truth. They're realising the media are not the ones to go to when a story breaks out. People are now starting to either look to alternative media, or at bare minimum, they're looking to do their own research because they do not trust our mainstream media. They are all about as honest as Kay Burley on a drunken bender, and she wonders why she's ended up in the cistern. Anyway, the fact is, people have had enough of this bullshit going on in Epping, in Ballymena. They've had enough of what happened in Southport. People are waking up. They are getting red-pilled more and more every single day because they are seeing their great nation become a third world shithole before their very eyes because of people like Keir the traitor Starmer. And I think I'm going to quote Paz49 on this one, because what they're doing right now, they're not building a community, they're building a bomb, and Epping is just one of the many fuses. Right now, this country, I wouldn't even say it's a pressure cooker. At this point, it is literally an erupting volcano. It's not a matter of if now, it's a matter of when. When that volcano erupts, oh my god, it is going to be absolutely catastrophic. Like, it is going to be horrendous. It'll be a massive civil war and a conflict like the which England has never seen before. It will be the worst event in our history. And when it does happen, Keir the traitor Starmer won't be able to be like, oh, this is a product of the far right, or, well, this is the Tories' fault, or whoever else he's going to use as a scapegoat. I'm surprised he hasn't got a fucking farm for them. I really am. But when it does erupt, when it all goes off, because it will, he won't be able to blame them. He'll only have himself to blame. The two-tier police will only have themselves to blame. The mainstream media will only have themselves to blame. The two-tier justice system will only have themselves to blame. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. But our two-tier police, oh, they were in full riot gear at this point. Hell, some of them were even attacking, provoked maybe, but they were attacking some of our patriots. One of them even bashed a shield right in a guy's face. There was no punches thrown. There may have been some hurty words that this snowflake didn't like, but in the end, this patriot did not do anything wrong. And what did he get for his trouble? He got smacked in the face. I wonder what would happen if the two-tier police took those helmets off and had a taste of their own medicine. Not that I'm advocating for it, but I will say I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts they would not like that one fucking bit. So what gives them the right to do it to us? And let's face it, they wouldn't have the guts to do this to the plasticine movement, or Just Stop Oil, or Black Lives Matter. Lives Matter. Or maybe I was right first time. They wouldn't have the guts to do that because they know full well it would all kick off. Just like that. It would be an explosion like you would never believe. And right now, this country is on the verge of following suit. It'll be a massive explosion, and effectively what will happen is our two-tier police will find out what happens when the gloves come off and the claws come out. Because the one thing I promise you is we English lions, we're not tolerating this for much longer. We have seen what DEI has done. We have seen what wokery has done. We have seen what being compassionate to invaders has done. It has basically cut off our nose in spite of our faces. It has caused us to become weak and complacent. And while Keir the traitor Starmer may sit in his little office planning this civil war that he wants to have come out, he doesn't yet realise that if he does do this, his position will be completely untenable. A lot of people will see what he's doing, and they will see this as him deliberately poking the bear with a stick. They will see it as that, and then they will be like, you know what? We can see what you're doing, Starmer. We can see that those people were pushed to that. They didn't do it on their own volition. They did it because you forced their hand. When you look at the police, when you look at the government, when you look at the justice system, you are supposed to feel like you can feel safe knowing that you're in a decent country, that there is a decent justice system, there is the rule of law without favour or reason and what have you. I believe that. What was the term they used? Basically, being fair and just in the justice system without taking sides, basically. So, no two-tier punishments and what have you. But unfortunately, we don't have that. We have corrupt police, corrupt judiciary, corrupt justice system. I'm really having trouble with the word justice. And we have people that are more useless than a chocolate teapot. When you normally, back in the old days, when you see the police go through the hardships that they do have to go through a lot of shit. Well, back then you could feel a little bit of sympathy for them. You could empathise a little bit. You could be like, maybe I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but I completely feel for him that he's having to deal with this stuff. Now, if we put the same scenarios in front of them, I think most of us couldn't give a flying fuck, quite frankly. It's like that bloody song from Bonnie Tyler, where have all the good men gone, as far as the police are concerned? Where have all the good men gone? Because I'll tell you right now, there are certainly no heroes in the force, or at least not many that I know of. Thank you. And when I think of heroes, what I think really makes my blood boil is thinking about people like that taxi driver. I'm not sure if this was in Leeds or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I remember there was this one taxi driver that basically had someone who wanted to blow themselves up. He had one of them from The Usual Suspects in his cab who asked him to take him to Leeds Hospital, I believe it was. And basically he was planning to blow up hundreds of people in this hospital. And this hero locked the taxi so that this piece of filth could not blow up hundreds of people in a hospital. And I think about him, I think that's a real hero who's got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually make the split-second decisions, the hard choices, and actually make themselves worthy of that hero status. He saved hundreds of lives, and yet he only gets £30,000 that was crowdfunded. Meanwhile, we have a Syrian refugee or foreign invader, Jamal Higazi, who ends up getting £157,000 for having a bottle of water poured on his face. I mean, honestly, it absolutely astonishes me how a boy can literally have nothing done to him, yet he gets paid that much. Yet you have a hero that saves hundreds of lives, he doesn't even get a fifth of what that fucker was paid. I do not think I could consider more of an insult, quite frankly. It is the worst thing that, well, it was the Tory government, admittedly, but it's the worst thing our government has done, in my humble opinion. True English hero, he gets fuck all. But if you're a foreign invader who comes to our country and gets basically watered by a boy, you can get paid a six-figure salary. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should get myself on a dinghy, dress myself up, maybe even have a hijab or something just for good measure. And maybe I should go to a school, let somebody pour water over my face, and then basically claim that I was waterboarded. And maybe I'll get a six-figure salary. Somebody put a fucking roadblock there for me. Anyway, the fact is, people need to understand that we, the people, will not stand for this. When that migrant got attacked, I didn't feel satisfaction at all. I felt like, well, this is what happens when you piss the people off. This is what happens when you decide to put the priorities of foreign invaders over protecting the people and their kids. I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is a classic case of fuck around and find out. You ever get the feeling that your hand-eye coordination is just off? For some reason, genius here decided to try and pour this in, ends up pouring it over the fucking floor, because, obviously, genius. Mind you, with 4 hours sleep, I guess I shouldn't expect anything else. My hand-eye coordination is clearly fucked up. Who said your hand and mouth is fine, though? Shut up, you. Fucking hell, man. I ain't that bad. Oh, dear, oh, dear. But anyway, this is basically a scenario I'll fuck around and find out. The government, the police, they're finding out, all right, what happens if you fuck around with the English people and decide to take the piss. This is what happens when you prioritise foreign invaders over protecting children. The Essex people have had enough. We are seeing this all over Europe. Foreign invaders in hotels at the taxpayers' expense. They expect us to be happy with it. We had no say in this. We had no ability to have a vote on it and say, no, we're not okay with this. They went ahead and did it without our consent. And now they're expecting us to sit here and accept our countries becoming third world shitholes on the back of government treachery. That is the most accurate way I think I could ever portray this. And you can't expect to call people far-right skin-headed thugs, even though now I am one. Skinhead, that is. But you can't keep calling them that and expect that to stick. Because in the end, people are just not going to give a shit. Most people have decided they've had enough of your nonsense. They've had enough of people being told that it's not okay to protect your children. They're sick and tired of being called Nazi scum by vermin in stand-up to NPCs who think that they're in the moral right somehow just because they want to vote for fucking Christmas, the fucking turkeys. Because that's what they are. They're basically turkeys celebrating Christmas. Oh yay, we're all about to get replaced. Fucking brain dead morons. I swear to God. Dear, oh bloody dear. But that's honestly the way I look at it. And I assure you, before too much longer, this volcano is going to go off. And when it does, there's going to be hell to pay. If the police and the government are not willing to do their jobs as mandated by the English people, we will step in and do it for them. They'll only have themselves to blame if this all kicks off. History will look back, and if they see us taking over from the police, taking out the trash, they won't see us as thugs, they won't see us as terrorists, they won't see us as Nazi scum. They will see us as concerned parents and concerned patriots turned heroes, deciding they're finally going to reclaim their country from the Marxists who want to destroy us. As I said, I don't condone a violent revolution. I don't condone civil war. But I completely understand if people feel like that's the only option they've got left. They have been repeatedly ignored and persecuted by a treacherous establishment that would rather protect the invaders who want to destroy us and violate our kids than the very people that they should be protecting, which is their own citizens and their own children. I wonder how many of these officers would feel if it was their kids on the line, if it was their kids being violated, if it was their children being passed around these predominantly Pakistani Muslim rape gangs like easy meat, like a sleeve, a hole to be used and abused. And I don't like using that term for children, let alone a fucking female. Like, I do not like that term, quite frankly. So why did I say it? But the point is, that's how these children and some of these younger females are being used by these rape gangs. They're used to satisfy their needs. And just like a broken tool, once that tool has served its purpose, it's discarded. Like that. Don't worry, I'll pick it up later and put it in the bin. Anyway, the bottom line in all this is the Epping people are doing what is effing right. They're doing what they feel they have to make their voices known that they do not want to see invaders in their hotels at our expense violating their children. I wouldn't even wish that on any other person. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies. However, I will say, as I said before, I guarantee you this, if it was the police's children, if it was Keir the traitor Starmer's children, they'd quickly change their tune. Just like that. Because they wouldn't want it to happen to their kids. And they'd start to sympathise a little bit with the working class, who they continually use as a punch bag. They continue to punch into the people and beat the shit out of them, thinking that we will code to their establishment beliefs, that we will bow down and kiss the arse and the ring piece of Keir the traitor Starmer. Well, the day I do that is the day I put a revolver in my mouth and blow my head off. It's not going to happen. You might not care for the children Keir the traitor Starmer or Essex police, but we fucking do. We care deeply for our kids. Hell, some of us that don't have kids care for the children. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of children, and I still feel that we should be protecting them, no matter what my past experiences are. No child deserves to be used as an instrument of pleasure. No child. Let it sink in. Because what Keir the traitor Starmer is showing is he doesn't give a fuck about our kids. He doesn't give a fuck about our communities. He doesn't give a flying fuck if foreign invaders are turning our cities, our communities, our towns into third world shitholes. He is effectively bringing the third world to the UK. He is turning us into the Western equivalent of the third world. Well, I'll tell you right now, this isn't Englandistan. This isn't the United States of Arab communities or whatever. This is England. Fucking England. Our flag is not the Palestine flag. It is not the Afghani flag. It is not the European Union flag. It is not the United Arab Emirates flag. This is our flag. Never forget that. And I don't care how unfit I am as a soldier. I don't care if I were to go into battle and die in 5 fucking seconds, quite frankly. It would be a shame. I'd probably be like, well, I'll miss my gaming. But you know what? Virtual wars do not compare to protecting kids, to protecting your nation from getting rid of foreign invaders in real life. And if our government and the police won't do it, then it's time we step in and take out the trash.